A lot of folks would say, and I would agree, that there was a so-called golden era of Pokemon that has long since ended, and the generations 4 and 5 take that crown. But what happens? Why has Pokemon gone downhill? I hope it isn't controversial to say Pokemon's gone worse, because it really has. Some believe it to be a case of apathy. The developers are simply getting lazy after recognizing kids will eat up virtually anything. However, I disagree. I believe it's a time problem. You see, Pokemon is a gargantuan franchise. It has an anime, a trading card game, and probably a lot more garbage I don't care about. I don't think people understand that they can't just delay their games to polish them like other devs can. New generations have new TCG expansions, anime seasons, and merchandising that can't afford to be held up. The developers of these games are on an impossible deadline, with a new major game release almost every single year, made worse if it's a new generation. Now, before I sound like one of those weirdos who'll defend multi-billion-dollar companies to their last breath, let me make it clear that I'm not excusing Nintendo for producing garbage. I am, however, excusing the developers that are forced to produce garbage by Nintendo. These developers are most likely just as frustrated with the game's quality as you are, if not more so. With that being said, let's balance the scale by cutting into Sword and Shield. Pokémon Sword and Shield formed the start of the 8th generation of Pokémon games. For the uninitiated, a generation is the collection of mainline games from the introduction of a batch of new Pokémon to the next. For example, Generation 1, Red and Blue, introduced 151 Pokémon, and Generation 2 starts with Gold and Silver, introducing another 100 creatures. If you haven't been living under a rock for the past 25 years or so, you'll already understand the main premise of Pokémon. You catch, battle, and train with these cute guys until you usurp the throne of the previous champion through blood sport. So yeah, fun for the whole family. Pokemon Sword and Shield are based in England, so they're already off to a horrible start. Anyway, the problem isn't that the games are any worse, it's that they aren't any better. This is evident in the series' painful transition to home consoles, where the standards are obviously much higher, or so you'd think. Also of note is that the fundamental core of Pokemon, the battling, hasn't changed in 8 years. 8 years! And that's being generous. I'm including its shift to 3D in the stupid gimmicks that ruin competitive play. Not you, Mega Evolution, we love you, we care for you, please come home. But realistically, the games have actually been the same ever since Generation 4 introduced the special physical split. This made it so different moves of the same type could use special or physical stats, as opposed to Gen 3 where neither Blaze Kick nor Bite were physical moves for some reason. Also of note is the lack of visual improvement. This is a pretty big deal given that RPGs are 90% looking at cool things happen and 10% actual gameplay. I think we're all familiar with the infamous tree texture. Ah, there it is. Ha! Gotcha! That's actually from Ocarina of Time. 24 years apart, by the way. The graphical upgrades are astonishing, aren't they? Many also point at the reuse of nearly decade-old models, but I don't think that's it. They look perfectly fine mostly. Mostly? I said mostly. I think it's the lack of animation improvements that's the real culprit. Look at these Pokemon. They look like the marionettes of the corpses of Pokemon, not lively beings full of character. Since Pokemon X and Y, Hitmontop has been shuffling this shuffle. And while I respect its commitment to its choreography, let's compare it to how it looked in, say, the best game. Its idle animation better fits its design. It bounces around on its top, you know, like a spinning top. To quote its Pokedex entry, if you become enchanted by its smooth, elegant, dance-like kicks, you may get drilled hard. Wait, what? Here sits Ruby 1 instead. It fights while spinning like a top. The centrifugal force boosts its destructive power by 10. Just kidding, that's from Pokemon X. That's 2 I got past you now. Just, one small thing. Why is it standing up? What's more baffling is that this is also consistent through all its main series sprites too. Is this an Australian variant or some shit? Oh no, the convicts have made it back to Galar! Update, I found out why it's standing up. Apparently Hitmontop is based on a Brazilian martial art called... well, it's called that. Its idle animation is based on a technique known as Jinga, which is actually pretty based. What sucks most about this is that virtually every language references this in its name except English. Of all the Pokemon I could have chosen, I chose the one with arguably the coolest idle animation. Are you fucking kidding me? My point still stands. Handstands? It looks cooler when it's on its top, okay? That's to say, I don't want to redo this part. Please leave me alone. Take a gander at some flying Pokemon. Let's say Charizard, because apparently Game Freak can't get enough of this fat fucking lizard. If a Pokemon has wings, you can bet your ass is just gonna float in the air with them. Every single one. I'm pretty sure this is a relic of Sky Battles, and if you don't know what Sky Battles are, that just proves the point. This was a terrible decision. Like, man, I sure hope this wasn't just done to maintain the continuity of 3 random trainer battles, because that would be quite silly, Game Freak. This homogeneity is just repetitive and voids the individuality of avian Pokemon. Having wings isn't a personality trait. Let's return to gameplay. Swish Sword and Shield follows Game Freak's baffling trend of making a great advancement, like the PSS, DexNav, Battle Frontier, Pokemon World Tournament, Gym Leader rematches, etc., and tearing them away for seemingly no reason at all. There's been fan outcry ever since Gen 5 over the removal of Pokemon walking by your side. What with the expansive wild area and all, now would be the perfect time to bring that back, no? Well, apparently not, but you know, I get it. Animating hundreds of walk cycles for every Pokemon would be a nightmare, especially for such little gain. Oh wait, they already did them. All Pokemon that appear in the overworld have running and walking animations, and they still didn't do it. These animations were actually found in the data of Sun and Moon too. What the actual fuck? I swear there was another issue regarding unused content, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it was down to technical limitations. Wait, do you hear that? I can't see anything. Holy fuck! Okay, I could defend a lot of things, but this is inexcusable. They just pop into frame, like no animation or anything. This is real life. This is a multi-billion-dollar game studio. Huh? Calm down. What would Zenyatta do? Genocide his own people? But no. Just think happy thoughts, dude. Look, I don't want to rail on Sword and Shield too hard. I don't want to have a fucking aneurysm. So let's instead defend what they did right. No, I didn't want to do that again. The game adds quite a number of quality of life changes, including having move tutors appear in every Pokemon Center. Remember, this one is like the Chekhov's gun of the video. Experience candy that gives a set amount of XP to a Pokemon, as opposed to rare candies which only give a single level. TMs are still multi-use, but nowhere near as broken. The better moves like Flamethrower, Ice Beam, and so forth are now TRs, the new single-use variants of TMs. This is of course a great change in terms of game balance, but also serves as a good reason to do Dynamax layers, the game's new raid system, which is important because there's gotta be some reason to do them, and no, it's not for the fun of it. The wild area is actually really good in concept. Emphasis on in concept, because in practice, it's a barren wasteland of a map that looks like it's straight out of Morrowind. Okay, but really, the wild area is kinda cool. It has its own gameplay loop, which is really easy to get sucked into. Pretty much you cycle around this giant, empty, open field, stopping by these power spots. If they have a beam coming out of them, there's going to be a Dynamax lair. As I said, the lairs give you a bunch of cool items, depending on the type of Pokemon and the difficulty. For example, a lair where the boss is a ground type will generally give you ground type TRs. There's also Watts, the currency of the wild area. These will allow you to buy TRs for great moves like Psychic, Earthquake, and so on. In my humble opinion, it's a great system, albeit a little repetitive and half-baked. That being said, this could very well be a prototype, and I hope they flesh this idea out in future games. Knowing Game Freak, they'll probably chuck it though. The wild area gives players a plethora of Pokemon to pick from really early on, massively upping the replay value of the game. There are a few balancing issues with this. Don't be negative. Don't be negative, don't be negative, don't be negative, don't be... Oh. Hey fellas! Do you think Pokemon is too balanced? Well, boy do I have a solution for you. In Pokemon Shield, you can catch this good little boy called Growlithe. He starts pretty meek, but give him a fiery little stone and BAM! You've got a misnomer. I mean, a powerhouse. How very convenient that there's a Firestone chilling, warming, right here. But oh no, his moves are garbage. Well, you see, Pokemon has balanced these evolutions by making it so you sacrifice getting good moves if you evolve early. What are all these? Too bad the move reminder's endgame, right? Oh wait, bam, Chekhov's gun. They're in every Pokemon Center now, and they're free? Golly gee, today's my lucky day, huh? Next you'll tell me the first gym is grass or something. Okay, back to reviewy shenanigans. I can't avoid it any longer. Dexit, yes, Game Freak removed half of all Pokemon from the game. I know this is a huge point of contention for a lot of people, but I'm perfectly fine with this change. Hell, I'd support it if it meant the games were more polished, but we can't let that happen now, can we, Nintendo? Regardless, Pokemon's been suffering from bloat for a long time now, and it's good to see them finally pop that balloon. That's not a very good metaphor, is it? Since even Gen 3, obtaining older Pokemon was practically impossible anyway, games were bound to their regional dexes, plus a few extras they could chuck in through features like swarms, dexnav, and postgame areas. It really isn't that big a deal. What I don't support is the given reason for why they did it. I've heard that they've actively lied to justify their removal, but I don't know if that's true, and it's outside the scope of this video. So, nevertheless, the reduction of the number of Pokemon has its benefits. It makes the ultimate goal of catching them all a lot more realistic, and also makes it not require splurging hundreds of dollars on old games. Black and White did something similar, making previous generations Pokemon completely unavailable until the postgame. This makes Unova feel like its own game. It revels in its own identity and doesn't rely on the old. This boldness is yet to be repeated, unfortunately, as Game Freak continues to pander to its Gen 1 fans. Champion Leon's ace isn't even from this generation. Instead, it's the fat fucking lizard again! Regardless, Sword and Shield did take its strides. New regional variants are back, but this time it's not just Gen 1 getting all the special treatment. All generations got a bit of the love. Small editor's note. I forgot to mention Gigantamax. Honestly, I forgot it was even a thing until I was reminded after watching the Radical Soda video again. Yeah, most of them are either Gen 1 or 8. There's only one of them that isn't. That's Garbodor. Needless to say, that's pretty garbage. Talking about getting the love, the music is, as always, on point. Listen, segues are really hard. Now, Pokemon is a series renowned for its music, and for good reason. These tracks ball, and they even got the god of music Toby Fox on for the track? Sign me the fuck up! I adore the rival themes, Beats theme especially. Go Ichinose certainly not lost his edge. At least I think it was Go Ichinose. Oh, and Minako Adachi too. She also composed for the Oracle games, and Telefang, if you remember that Pokemon bootleg episode from Jontron. Yeah. Holy fuck, it's a small world, huh? Another highlight is Scrum Debate, the gym leader battle theme. What I especially love is how it develops as the battle continues, ending with the crowd cheering you on as you tackle your gigantic foe in the face of despair. The sheer spectacle of the gyms in Sword and Shield made these battles feel intense and exhilarating, despite being really easy. While Pokemon's overall animation quality leaves a lot to be desired, what's certain is that Game Freak's world and character design is as good as ever visually speaking. I actually really like the overall visual style of these games. I think Game Freak has really nailed the balance of cute and real. The game is packed with fantastic character designs, not only the Pokemon themselves, but the trainers too. Golly gee, I wonder who the main characters in this scene are. Gloria is probably my favorite customizable protagonist design so far. Just make sure you wrap her up in a thick padded jacket to protect her from hot edge based attacks in the city. God, what a shit joke. That was so bad. Talking about cities, they're bigger in scale than ever. Well, not Spikemouth, it's literally a single corridor. Each one is visually distinct too. The only real grievance I have here is that they're all fairly vacant. Ironically enough, that demonstrates the main issue I have with these games. They got great spectacle, but they're really empty. So they're pretty faithful to the UK actually. This is prevalent throughout the whole game, including the story, characters, and yes, the wild area. There are numerous conspiracy theories about how the game was intentionally bastardized, and as much as I follow them, I don't think I'm going to cover them in this video. It's getting long enough as it is. What I will cover is this fucking terrible story. The game focuses a lot more on contextualizing the gym challenge in the game world. It does this more so than any other Pokemon game. I do like this, but what I don't like is that it supposedly sacrifices having a major B story to do this. I'll be referring to the story with the villain team and the legendary Pokemon as the B story for lack of a better term. Team Yell, the expected antagonists, are ultimately explained and written off in their first encounter. There's virtually no action, no tension, no nothing for 90% of the story. It's mostly info dumps from Sonia about the Darkest Day, and most of them are rehashes of stuff we already know. Look, we know that the heroes are Pokemon, they're on the fucking box! The one case of something actually happening is dealt with off-screen, and I shit you not, it's communicated in a fucking newspaper article. The game apparently has an oh shit moment in its final section as they realize they haven't done anything with the box legendaries. They then decide to stuff them here, literally interrupting our champion battle. And you guessed it, it's not done very well. Our good old pal and obvious antagonist Rose here decides to summon the nightmare-fueled god of energy Eternatus as he realizes that it'll potentially destroy the world in 1,000 years or something? I don't know, it comes completely out of nowhere. Eternatus is never even mentioned in the story, and it's very contrived. Update! Again! I have a confession to make. I'm a fraud. A scoundrel. I made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I've led you astray. I didn't do Sword and Shield story justice, because it's even fucking worse than I thought it was. Rose's goals are far more noble than the Chrono Trigger saving the world 1,000 years from now. No. For you see, he's bringing about the apocalypse because there's going to be an energy crisis in 1,000 years. In the fucking Pokemon world. A world that we literally established in Gen 6 has infinite energy. Even if it didn't, couldn't he just invent solar panels? I don't know, there's gotta be better ways to do this than literal fucking Armageddon. I get that, it's kind of realistic because the UK hates everyone in real life too, but I don't think Bojo would summon Ragnarok willingly just because the fucking oils run dry.
Probably like a cup of tea.
I mean, Thatcher probably would. Anyway, the fucking point is, it's the fucking Pokemon world. It's different. There's different standards here. Hey, Diamond and Pearl remakes are coming out soon, and literally the story in that is that the villain team uses the energy gotten from wind turbines and solar panels to bind the gods of reality to a harness that they can control them with. Clearly they're not really doing that badly for energy. The only cool thing here is that he actually achieves his goals, but also the fact that him achieving his goals makes the game less grindy. So thanks, Rose, and enjoy jail, I guess. Poke jail. What is Pokejail? Are the wardens just clef keys? That'd be pretty funny. Trainers are barely developed through the narrative, but are given backstory through their league cards. Kind of like match attacks. You guys remember match attacks? I had Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo. I was cool. I might make a video in the future discussing this in more detail. The story, not the match attacks. But for now, just know that it's pretty bad. Which is a shame, because Sword and Shield definitely had the potential to write an incredible interpersonal story about the main cast of trainers, exploring the world of Pokemon from a fresh new angle. But they didn't. Instead, we get this. This was originally going to be a comparison of Sword and Shield to Temtem, an MMO heavily inspired by Pokemon that came out fairly recently. Needless to say, it's a cut above these games and actually does new things, but as it turned out, I had a lot to say about these games. I didn't hate Sword and Shield. In fact, they were really quite fun. Honestly, that's what makes them even worse. They had potential. They could have been so much more, but they just writhe in the pit of mediocrity. It fucking hurts, especially the terribly rushed ending. If Pokemon Sword and Shield, a game with a multi-billion-dollar company behind it, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that quite enough. Yeah, multi-billion, like multiple billions. That's a lot of money, that's a lot of cash. Can have a shit conclusion, then I can too. Hello there. Welcome to the end of the video. Welcome to the, this is the end of the video. I know, it's sad, all good things must come to an end. But you know, we had a good run, right? If you did enjoy, be sure to like and subscribe. Drop a cheeky comment. Did you like Sword and Shield? Did you hate? I don't give a fuck. Okay, right. Boring things out of the way, cool things in the way. I got a new microphone, the Rode NT1A. It's pretty based, it's pretty cool. Audio quality probably improved. Please leave a comment. Tell me if you can hear a difference. Because I'm gonna be really upset if you can't. But anyway, with that out of the way, if you did enjoy, drop a cheeky subscribe, share it with a good old pal of yours, and that's all. Next video probably about Temtem, if I can be fucked. Bye? A little aside, I'm pretty sure it's the Pokemon company that's causing all this chicanery to happen, not Nintendo. So, sorry Nintendo. But also, fuck you, Nintendo. Imagine cancelling a Smash tournament because they're using a client to make the game playable online. During coronavirus, you fucking apes. Okay, here are the outros. Irony, guys, it's irony, cause these are fuck's sake, cause these are I can't. But really, the wild area is. Are you kidding me? But really, the wild area is kind of based. Nah, that's not gonna work. Just like me, because I don't have a job. I'm just looking at my script right now. It's a fucking section that says trail off laughing into depression. Like that, I guess. You see, Pokemon is a jargon. There's also Watts, the currency of the wild area. These will allow you to buy TRs for great moves like Physics. Physics! Physics! It's psychic! Oh yeah, one final note. I had the project rate in Audacity set to 48,000, so it's gonna sound the same as the Blue Yeti. God damn it!